Hello, welcome to Jason the Old Millennial. My name is Jason. I'm speaking to you here in my basement in the great state of Kansas. And since I did a top 10 favorite movies I saw last year, I thought I'd do a top 10 worst movies I saw last year. To go the other end. So I'm going to do 10 through 6 in this video, but the worst ones. Interesting thing about like worst movies, I don't try to watch worst movies. I only try to watch movies that are good or movies I think will be good. If I think it's gonna be bad, I don't watch it. And if a lot of people say, "Oh, that's a bad movie," then I'm like, "Well, I'm not gonna go watch it." So I try hard not to watch bad movies, but I always do watch bad movies. Uh, Kind of because of two reasons. The big one is that movies that get a lot of critical praise, that get nominated for Oscars, I usually check out to see what all the hype is. And a lot of times the Oscar movies that get nominated are really really terrible movies and are like the worst movies I've ever seen. It's always that way. Like the worst movie is usually the one that the Academy loves or critics love. We just have, I think I just have opposite viewpoints than people that vote on that kind of stuff. I think they usually like more dark, more depressing movies where characters are immoral and there's an unhappy ending. I like movies that have good moral characters that you love, and I love good happy endings, and I love more positive style movies. So I don't know. I think we just different viewpoints, and that's why I usually don't like the best picture type movies. Anyway, so a lot of those movies are on my list of my least favorite movies, and then the other ones are just the movies that I thought were going to be good, but just were really disappointing, and just way worse than I was expecting. And that's always worse when you go into a movie expecting something and you just get, oh, like they could have done something good here and they messed up. Anyway, so those are kind of my worst movie kind of stuff. So it's usually maybe not the worst movies, but just the worst ones I just happen to come across. Anyway, so number 10, I'm gonna go with The Jungle Cruise. Came out in theaters. I watched it on Disney Plus when it finally came out. Of course, starring Dwayne the Rock Johnson, Emily Blunt, based off of a ride from Disney World, The Jungle Cruise. And this was one I was really looking forward to. This was more. I put this on here because I was pretty. I was quite disappointed with the overall product. This was one of the movies I was really kind of looking forward to. I was waiting for it to get on Disney Plus to watch it because I remember seeing the trailer. It seemed like forever ago, of course, because everything got postponed last year or 2020. So I remember seeing the trailer and thinking, "Oh, this looks like a really fun adventure movie." I love Dwayne the Rock Johnson; he's always great. Emily Blunt's a really good actress. And it looked like a fun movie, a lot of comedy, a lot of action. It's the kind of movie I really enjoy. Those kind of movies. Anyway, so watching Disney Plus, I just came off just not that funny. Uh, the chemistry between Dwayne Johnson and Emily Blunt, I didn't think was that great. They're supposed to be kind of romantically involved, of course, by the end, but I didn't know if I really believed in that relationship. Her brother was really annoying and not that funny. He's supposed to be like the comedy relief. And then the overall story I didn't care for. Of course, they got into this very mysticism, lore, type, cursing. You're cursed and you have to live this way. I don't know. I didn't really care for the whole plot line. I didn't like the Spanish conquistadors who come back and they got these really grotesque. The way they're designed, like one I think has snakes coming out of him, one has like bees coming out of him, and it's just really kind of gross and not pleasant, and like just didn't care for those characters at all. Didn't really like the whole design or CGI of all that, and just the whole plot. I don't know, just didn't really make it for me, which is fine as long as there's some fun in there. But I didn't really have that much fun watching it, so I was pretty disappointed with it. It kind of reminded me of like I think they're going for like a Pirates of the Caribbean or The Mummy or even Jumanji. Kind of has those kind of feel to it, but yet was not nearly as good as those movies. So it went way under the bar for me. So that's why I got number 10. Number 9, another hugely disappointing movie, Wonder Woman 1984. Came out theaters. I caught it on HBO Max when I got it this last year. And it was one of the big movies coming on HBO Max, I remember. And I remember it coming out and people said they were disappointed. And I really liked the first movie, Wonder Woman. I thought it was really well done. I liked Gal Gadot as the lead. I thought it was really good. And of course, Chris Pine is great. um, and I thought it was well made movie. There's some good action sequences there, and yeah, a very enjoyable movie. And so I was high expectations for this one, and I heard it wasn't very good, but I still wanted to see it just to see from my own eyes, I guess, because I enjoyed the first one, so I gave it some credit there. And yeah, I agree with everybody else. It was a really bad movie. Um, Mostly the plot. The plot was just so stupid. I just couldn't believe the plot of the movie. I was like, really, this was the best they could come up with for a sequel. Like, surely they come up with something better than this. But the whole wishing stone and all that, I just didn't care for that at all. And then the action sequence weren't that good. Uh, I thought the CGI was horrible. I remember there's one action sequence she goes and she saves these kids, and it was like, wow, it looks so green screen. And every time Wonder Woman jumps in the air, it's like it doesn't look like Wonder Woman. It looks like some CGI'd effect. It didn't really work for me. Sorry, I heard some noise upstairs. Um, yeah, so all for such a big budget movie, you would think they would have state of the art special effects and all that, and yet I thought, yeah, all the special effects were terrible. Costuming I didn't like. She has this new costume that's not as cool as the old one, and she just doesn't look as cool. And yeah, and the whole Chris Pine comes back, and the way he comes back, I thought was really weird. I didn't care for that whole plot line. So yeah, it's just a really disappointing movie. Number eight, I have a movie you probably never heard of called Prom. That came out on Netflix. It's a musical that came out, I think, in 2020 or something like that. And I saw this because it didn't. It got some. I think it got nominated for a Golden Globe for Best Musical Comedy or something, and it got a couple of individual ones. Meryl Streep, James Corden are some of the mains, and if I remember right, so some decent cast members. But I can't say a lot about this movie except that I just didn't care for the plot at all. Once I found out what the plot was, I was like, oh, I don't care about this plot. Don't care about these characters. I didn't care about what they were doing with the politically. I didn't care for it, and religiously, and the musical numbers weren't that good. Anyway, so it's just I don't know, just a really awful, I think, musical. Prom at number eight. And number seven, this is a lot of people love this movie, so this is one I hate to say put it on here, but I have to because I was just really disappointed, and that is Soul, which was I believe, a Pixar movie. I saw on Disney Plus, and this was very hyped up. It won the Oscar, I believe, for Best Animated Feature, and everybody loved it. All the critics were just praising this movie, and so I had some expectations. Even though the trailer didn't look that good to me, I thought this movie doesn't look that good, but everybody praised it so much. I thought, well, everybody loves it. Maybe it's good. Anyway, I watched it with my family, and I thought it was terrible. It was very boring. I mean, Pixar, you want to laugh. You some emotional moments in there, interesting plot, but the plot wasn't really that interesting. Uh, and it has to deal with the afterlife, and I thought their viewpoint of afterlife was so off. What afterlife is, and the way life begins, just and I was pretty confused throughout it. I remember just being like, "What's going on? I don't get who these people are in the afterlife." And like, there's no angels. There's these weird figures that are running things, which I'm like, I don't know where that came from. And just the whole concept of how they get these, I don't know what you call them, these things into humans. It's into babies. They come from this, I don't know. I don't think they even use the word heaven, but wherever they are, it's like heaven or it's like purgatory or something like that. It's like uh, it's before life begins. It's before life or something like that. And they put these souls. I guess there's these souls that are there, and they have these souls, and then they put them down into, I don't know. It didn't make any sense. I can't even talk about it. It's just the whole concept didn't make any sense. Uh, just badly planned. There wasn't really a antagonist or bad guy in it. Um, and the whole main character is this jazz pianist who wants to be in a jazz band. And I hate jazz, so the whole time I'm thinking, I hate this music. I don't care about this guy being a jazz pianist. I think if you want to be a rock and roll singer or something like that, or a rock and roll guitar player, I might have been more involved because I like that kind of music. But that's just a personal part of me. I guess if you like jazz music, maybe you love the movie. because he loved that aspect of him wanting to be in a jazz band. But yeah, so just everything about it. And there was this whole plot line where he tries to go back to his body. He's in the afterlife. His soul is in the afterlife. He wants to get back to his body, but he accidentally misses and gets into a cat. And so there's this whole section that's not in the trailer at all, where he's running around as a cat, and it's like, what? Like, he's a cat now? Like, I was so confounded. I was like, I couldn't believe it. And it was like, wasn't funny with him as a cat and all the cat jokes, I guess, or whatever. And it was like, I didn't know where this movie was going, and I don't know. I probably said enough, but yeah, I was just totally disappointed with. And Pixar hasn't been doing very good. It seems like Disney and Pixar have come out. I would say Encanto is one of the better movies I've seen in a while from Disney. And Ride Last Dragon wasn't bad, but everything else in the last couple of years have been pretty terrible from Disney, I think, animation wise. Starting with Frozen 2, I didn't like either. Onward, just a lot of bad movies. So hopefully they come up with some better material here pretty soon. So number 6, the last movie I'm going to talk about, another movie that everybody seemed to like, but I don't know why I didn't like it, didn't get it, why people liked it. And it's called Palm Springs, which I believe is an Amazon Prime movie that you can get on Amazon. It's an Amazon Prime original that you can get at any time. And it's a comedy with a sci-fi twist to it, where Andy Samberg, the main character, is in a time loop where he lives the same day every day over and over again. You know, never gets older. Nothing ever changes. Can't die, you know, and just living in that life. And then it kind of deals with that, and him and this other girl gets involved, and she's in the time loop too, and they're trying to figure out how to get out of the time loop or how to live their lives. You know, it's kind of depressing being in a time loop. They kind of make it like, you know, you want to die, but you can't. And every day's the same, so it's just boring and nothing new and exciting about life anymore. So, I mean, I like a time loop story. It's cool. Of course, Groundhog's Day is probably the greatest time loop story. One of my favorite movies. So I was trying to do that, but I guess I didn't like it because, it's supposed to be a comedy, and like I hardly laughed at all throughout the movie. And I hated the Andy Samberg character. I thought it was a terrible character. Hated him throughout the whole movie. Didn't care about him at all and him succeeding. Um, it starts with this really off-putting sex scene with Andy Samberg and his girlfriend that really just made it just a really bad tone to begin with, I think. And there's some other just kind of gross, disgusting things that happen throughout the movie that I just really off-putting to me. And that's like, I just really don't like any of this. And it was really hard to get through. And it's funny, like I said, everybody loves this. I think it's like an interesting story and it's funny, but I didn't find it funny at all or interesting at all. I don't know. That was just, and maybe that's just me because, like I said, most everybody loves it. I haven't heard anybody else really not like it like me, I guess. That was just my, I guess, viewpoint on it because I really wanted to like it. I like Andy Samberg most of the time, and I like a good sci-fi comedy story idea. But yeah, I thought they way missed the mark on this one. Anyways, that's just me. So that's 10 through 6, the worst movies I saw last year. And so next video I'll go through 5 through 1, and just tell me if I'm way wrong. Probably on Palm Springs and Soul. Most people say those were good movies. But yeah, tell me what was the worst movie you saw maybe, or if you like these movies that I'm even saying. Just let me know in comments. And thank you for watching the video and liking it. Thank you to subscribers for supporting the channel. I really appreciate you. And I hope you have a really good day.